Sí.
Oh, there we go. Hello, Papapa, how are you?
Hola, Tony, muy bien. Aquí continuando la entrevista.
Perfecto. All right, we're here with Papapa and Abuelita. We already finished Abuelita's interview, and now we're going to do Papapa's, and this is for future generations, so we can know about our amazing grandparents and the life they've lived, the different experiences they've had, the stories they've had, and they've both had wonderful lives, and they've worked really hard and become great people. And so I'm just going to ask Papapa a few questions, and the first one is, what are some of your first memories? What's the earliest thing you can remember from childhood?
Well, I have to go back, and I think my first memory were really in the ranch that my mother and my uncle inherited from their father. And my mother teaching my sister and I how to write and read and the numbers. Every morning we sat at the table, at the dining room table, and then we had all those classes. When I reached the school, I was already on third year, on third grade. I mean, I skipped already kindergarten, first and second year.
How old were you?
Like 9?
Around, I think, yeah, around 9 probably.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And where did you grow up? Where were you born?
Well, I was born in Camagüey, Cuba, and that's the most eastern part of the island.
Okay. How far away is that from Havana?
Around what, 400 or 600 kilometers?
Yeah, it's 4 hours.
Something like that. It's not very far. I mean, you have to either get a bus, public transportation, or a train, which
Take
in
4
Cuba
hours.
was very, very good. It took a long time, but we could go in train from
4
Havana
hours.
to Camagüey, and yeah, that's it.
And how many siblings did you grow up with?
Well, only my sister and myself. She was 1 year younger than I.
When you're younger?
Yeah, and this is the sister. Well, the only sister I had, and the one that we're going to visit now.
Tomorrow?
St. Pete's. Yeah, we'll leave tomorrow morning.
And what's her full name?
Excuse me.
What's your sister's full name?
It's Hortensia Graciela Breton Rodriguez.
Teresita.
Teresita.
Okay, very nice. And what are some memories you have of your mom growing up when you were a child?
Well, very, very close because we lost our father.
When you were 12.
Yeah, right. And what I remember of him, this is not true. That was not the way it was, but I don't know. He developed a severe asthmatic attack, but that happened after his wedding. Before his wedding, he was very healthy man. Apparently, he had one of those syndromes that attack your lungs and your kidneys. In this moment, I don't remember what is his name, but it's one of those syndromes. And we took him to, or they took him because I was a youngster, to Havana, to different specialists and things like that. And nobody could do anything.
Yeah.
And I remember him under the attack of asthma. It was something really terrible because he had to inject himself with epinephrine, which is a medicine that made your heart go real fast. But that was the only thing that helped him with the asthma.
Are you looking forward to seeing him again one day?
Oh, I hope so. My God, well, that's the thing. I mean, we believe that there is a place where we will see all our ancestors.
That just makes sense, doesn't it?
it does. It doesn't make sense to me. Some people that believe that there's nothing. I mean, we are like a little flame that extinguish, and that's it.
No. Well, I'm sure that'll be a great reunion to see him again one day. I'm sure he's very, very proud of you and the life that you've lived. And so what memories do you have from growing up? What kinds of things did you do for fun when you were a young boy in Cuba?
Well, every summer vacation that when we were out of school, we went to the ranch. Most of the other people went to the beach. Northern Camagüey, Nuevitas was the name of a seaport. And I remember going there because my brother-in-law, George, they did have a property right at the entrance of the bay of Nuevitas, and we went there, and it was a very nice vacation, really, next to the ocean, living under the nice breeze of the ocean, but very, very few times we did that. Most of the time we went to the ranch.
What kinds of animals were at the ranch?
Yeah, the ranch was a cattle.
Okay.
It was a cattle ranch. I mean, my uncle that I remember. I don't remember my father in the ranch at all. No, I have to say I don't. But my uncle, I mean, he bought terneros. I mean, youngster cattle, and then fattened them, and then went to Camagüey and sold them there.
And make some money.
Yeah, I remember that in one of those cattle, what do you call that? Cattle ride or something like that. I went with him. We usually went at night, so the air was fresh, and we took several of our cowboys to help us with the cattle and the horses. I mean the horses. Sure, we wanted horses. I mean the dogs. They were the amazing one that kept the cattle from spreading out. We took the road and tried to keep out of the main road on the sides. But that's what he did in the ranch, and beside that he had cows, and he had milk that he sold in Camagüey. They came with a truck to pick it up, and we had also bees, honey bees, which during the war it makes a lot of money because they bought the wax to seal the bullet in the cartridges, and they paid really good money for that. After the war, they were not interested anymore in the wax and then the honey, but the honey didn't produce that much money. But we use it. We use the milk from the cows. We drink that in every dinner, and we use the honey to sweeten everything.
That's a great memory. Wow.
Yeah,
really
that
neat.
was a great memory. I tell you, and beside that, my uncle, he really loved the land. To him, there was nothing else that means anything in his life but taking a good care of his ranch.
Yeah.
And he didn't leave any weed or anything like that to grow in the ranch. He took care of all that, and the ranch was to him was. I think he lived for the ranch.
And who is
He
this?
didn't live from the ranch, but he lived for the ranch.
Yeah. And who is this? What was his name?
Rafael.
Yeah, that was my
Rafael.
mother's brother, Rafael Rodriguez.
And how How many brothers and sisters did your mom have?
Only one.
Oh, okay.
She only had that brother, and he lived with us. I think all his life he lived with us.
And how many brothers and sisters did your dad have?
I think that was a large family. All right. I think, let me see. Sister, we have Mayita, Mirta, and Madalena. That right?
Did you keep in contact with your dad's family after he passed away?
Oh yeah, very, very closely. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my grandfather took the position of my father, really,
Okay.
beside my uncles. And my grandfather was a military man, had gone to the military school, and he was from the Corps of Engineers. Then after the Republic took over and the Spaniard left, he started working for public works as a civil engineer. In fact, one of the last positions I remember was him as a civil engineer of an American sugar mill, El Francisco, Central Francisco. All right, and all my family lived there, my aunt, and it was a very good life because it was contact with the people from the United States, all the people who working there, all engineers and things like that. I think my grandfather, they were American. Most of the Spaniards, after they left the country, they left. And they had to improvise with teachers and things like that. I think my mother has a history of a teacher that wasn't really a teacher, and but she started teaching in school because there was no one else that could take that position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was your favorite subject growing up in school? What was your favorite class?
I think always was physics and biology.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the uncle that lived with us, Rafaelito, he was very smart at that, and now I realize that what he was doing was awakening my interest in medicine, and he gave me a microscope, and then I started growing parameciums, which are unicellular protozoan that are visible with your naked eye because they are like a little point moving across the field, but then with the microscope you can see them much better, and I started raising those and doing experiments with different type of protozoans and fish, and then I got interested in the fish and everything related to biology, but I think in the background physics was also my interest. But for a long time I thought I was going to be a cowboy.
Really?
Oh yeah, I thought I was going to dedicate my life to live in a ranch and go and gather the cattle and things like that. Yeah.
That's neat. And I know that did your mom raise you in the Catholic Church from when you were a baby?
Oh yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, very much so.
Not only that, but I mean, when I went to come away to pursue my, or to start my education, really, I went to a Catholic school, which was founded in Spain by a saint we call San Jose,
San
San Joseph of Calasanz.
And how was it growing up in the Catholic school?
Yeah, it was really nice. They were from the part of Spain which they are very
studious.
Huh?
I don't know. Very what?
They are very ¿cómo se dice?
Dime en español lo que quieres decir.
Educated?
Well, sure. I mean, they were educated. The school was founded to educate poor children, and you don't have to pay anything to go there. But nowadays, I mean, when I went there, it was not that way. I mean, they needed money to survive, but originally was, in fact, he's considered to be the patron of all the Catholic schools because it was the first one that was created or made to educate poor children, children that were not from the nobles and they didn't have any education at home. They had to get it in the school, and he is considered the patron of the Catholic school.
Wow.
Not in this country because they don't have any representation. Now, there is a lot of their priests, but they are as themselves, not as part of a congregation. They
Yeah.
don't have any school.
And what kind of memories do you have of, were there certain kind of music you liked growing up?
Well, I always like classical music, and I listen to classical music on the radio. And I had a very good friend of mine. I'm going to mention his name, Emilio Ignacio de Quesada. We were very good friends, and we studied together. And he had a nice collections of operas,
Mm.
and many times we listened to the music, and we loved the operas, and that was the way I learned about most of the opera was through his father's collection, Emilio Ignacio de Quesada collection.
Very neat.
Yeah.
What were what were some of your favorite kinds of foods growing up?
Oh, I think it probably was the thing that we had in the ranch. There's a kind of chicken, which is a large chicken, and apparently they are from Africa, because se llaman guineas, from Guinea, that area of Africa, I suppose. And they are always in a very large group, and then you hunt them with shotgun. And then you shoot to where they are concentrated, and you usually kill 3 or 4 or more.
Wow. So did you go shooting?
That's right, we did that, and then fish. We love fishing. Going in the river, there's across our farm, in another farm, but we were very good friends, and they have the river that goes all the way to the city of Camagüey. ¿Cómo se llama ese río? El río no, okay, to the ocean. And I don't remember the name of that river, but I mean, there were even sometimes there were even alligators and everything in the river, but
Wow.
I don't think I ever saw an alligator really. But we did take there good swimming with the rest of the family, and fishing. We did a lot of fishing there. And then beside that, we have animals that we have pig and cattle.
And so,
We ate the meat of all those animals.
yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, and then we grew yuca y ¿cómo se llama esto que tú tienes que te gusta mucho? Calabazas, pumpkin, and bananas. Yeah, a lot of those things.
And how did you end up deciding that you wanted to become a doctor?
Well, I think, first of all, I mean, with the microscope, I had a lot of experiment that I did, and my friend and my partner in the studies, I mean, he also wanted to be a physician, and I think that was decided that we were going to go to medical school. In my family, I have architect, engineer, and attorney. My uncle that lived with us, Rafaelito, he went to the University of Havana to be an attorney, and then we have had 2 dictators in Cuba. One was Machado. Machado closed the University of Havana, and then he had to come back and go to the ranch, and then from there on he was a cowboy. He didn't think anymore in any further education. But then I could choose to be an attorney like my uncle Norman, or I could have been an architect and engineer like my uncle Miguel Angel. And my grandfather, he worked also as a surveyor because he was a civil engineer and civil engineer, right, with the Corps of Engineers of the Spanish Army. And then my father helped him, Manuel. In fact, it's a very interesting anecdote of one where they were surveying some land and then suddenly they heard like it sounded like a plane. They said, "Oh my God, a plane!" Very hardly you saw any plane whatsoever. And then they used the telescope that the surveyor used, and then they saw clearly, and it was called the Spirit of San Luis, and it was limber trip. After he had crossed the Atlantic, he went in a tour of most of the Latin American countries, including Cuba. And they said, "Oh my God, look at that, that's Lindbergh
Charles Lindbergh.
that just crossed the Atlantic and he's visiting us,
Oh wow,
the Spirit of San Luis."
wow.
That's right, that's an interesting anecdote.
That play is
Anecdote.
in the.
What was it?
That play is in the. ¿Cómo se llama?
Smithsonian.
Smithsonian. Oh yeah,
Smithsonian.
yes, yes.
Espíritu San Luis is in Smithsonian.
Wow.
Yes.
And you said your mom's family, they came from, was it France or Spain? Your mom's family?
No, my mother's family all were Cuban. In fact, it's very interesting because most of them fought against the Spaniards. Then that's a conflict that my grandfather had, I mean Manuel Breton, that he had fought next to the Spaniards because he was a military man. But that's something that came up during the independence life of Cuba. A newspaper man wrote an article about criticizing that they were using a military man as a chief of the police works.
Mm-hmm.
But immediately there were a lot of people protesting on that and saying what you said. If we had closed the door to all these people, then we couldn't work as a country. Sure, we had to open the door. And besides that, I mean, he was from the Corps of Engineers. Yeah, he did bridges and fixed roads so we could go and fight against the Cuban. But his main interest was to make a bridge, to fight against Cuba. He